right. Gentlemen, have you each received each other's proposed exhibits to the restraining order?
I have not.
No.
So you haven't each seen the video clips that you've each submitted to the court?
I've only seen them.
I've seen them, but not from him. And I have a witness there too with more evidence.
All right. Let's take it one step at a time, sir. So you've seen them. You know the clips that were submitted.
Yeah, pretty much. They're on both of our shows that we do on YouTube, so I'm aware of them. Yes.
All right, Mr. Kearney, you as well. You're familiar with the clips
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Killoran, I'm assuming that you are opposing the issuance of this order?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kearney, I'll hear you on why you think you need the protection of a harassment order.
Okay. Over the last month, Brett Killoran has publicly issued a number of threats on YouTube and via text directed at me that I believe are true threats. These threats are willful and malicious, aimed at me and my family, and designed to cause fear in me and my family and intimidate me. I believe he is an imminent threat to follow through on these based on his history of violence and criminal activity. I respectfully request that this court grant a harassment prevention order. Our background. Brett used to work for me as a co-host on my YouTube live show, which I paid him $200 a month for. He frequently talks about shooting guns, knows where I live, has come to Massachusetts in the past to see me, has a serious drinking problem, and previously was charged with armed robbery. Brett's past, despite his past, I wanted to give him a second chance, as he has told me before, that being a guest on my show motivated him to get a job and stop collecting Social Security. On 2 separate occasions, I previously had to suspend him because he threatened fans and once told a person named Thomas Scopa during a show that he was going to dig up his grandmother's corpse and have sex with it. Brett did not respond well to these suspensions, but I gave him a third chance anyway because I believe in redemption and thought being on the show was a good influence for him. After that, Brett was much more controlled and repeatedly messaged me to thank me, telling him that being on my show has turned his life around. Prior to our relationship, he had led a life of crime and drug addiction. He was charged with armed robbery in Worcester, collected Social Security, and couldn't maintain employment. In his own words, he said, quote, running around and being a criminal piece of shit most of my life. With my permission, Brett started his own YouTube channel in February, and on November 19th...
Sir, hold on one second. I'd like you to focus your testimony on the issues and the threats to you as opposed to his lifelong biography.
Okay, no problem. So basically, he began to issue a series of threats after November 19th, after him and I parted ways.
November 19th of what year?
This year.
Okay. And what was the initial threat?
Okay, so there have been dozens of them, and I've quoted and I've sent some of them in the evidence. Okay. I'll read one to you. It says, I'm just going to go after every broad this little faggot ever met. What comes next is a direct fucking result of your amateur fucking bitch-made puppies trying to fucking put your nose where it doesn't effing belong. So I'm going to curb stomp you, and then I'm going to take every effing cunt that's ever laid his eyes on and rip their effing hearts out. This is what we do now. You can expect me. Maybe not you, maybe not your aunt, your sister, your niece, someone. Until then, everybody suffers. Can I play one of these audios?
Well, first, so when was that threat?
This threat was on December 13th.
December 13th of 2021.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And that was by audio, and you're just reading to me.
Correct.
Okay.
And
all right.
I would like to play one of the audios.
Well, hold on, sir. Yep. When was the November 19th threat, and what did that involve?
So the November 19th threat is when we split, and that's when the animosity that he...
All right, so nothing actually happened on that date. That was just the date that you parted ways.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so the first threat was on December 13th?
No, he's been threatening me. These threats have escalated. The first threat was on November 26th, the threat.
Okay, and what did that comprise?
That comprised of him saying, I have a number of quotes here. He says, I know I don't have a car. I would take a bus. I would hitchhike if I had to, just to kick the dick off your breath, little boy. I'm going to hit you once or kick you once, get you on the ground, and then I'm going to play dentist and take your teeth. I'm going to take your teeth out, and you won't do or say anything about it except that you're sorry. You won't have no teeth. It will feel nice on my nipple if if you come up here, AIDS land. Oh, sorry. If you come up here, let me get back. Yeah, I treat it, let's see. I'm going to take your teeth and you won't do or say anything about it. If you come up here, AIDS land, I'm going to take your teeth. I'm going to take them and keep them. He's going to get dental work. I treat his face like Connie treated his grandmother's pussy and punch him into death. This little red-dick motherfucker, one time you standing in front of me, dude, I'm going to take your teeth, son. I'm going to fuck you up. You're going to come up to my chest, you little nickel-dicked fucking pussy. You would fucking cry if I raised a hand to you, you little cunt. You can do this act with your little faggot fucking friends, but not with somebody who looked you in the eye. I would break you like a bad habit, you little cunt. I just want to watch you suffer, struggle, and burn.
Okay, sir. So that's November 26th.
That's correct.
So that's your first threat. When's the next one?
The next threats occur on December 13th.
Okay, December 13th. And what was that?
That's what I'm going to read to you right, or I was going to play for you right now. So that was the one I first read to you when he said, so I wasn't responding to him at this point, and it was just making him more upset. And so he decided that he was going to come after family members of mine too, and explicitly threatened to come to my house and sexually assault my wife. This is what he said. I'm just going to go after every broad this little faggot ever met.
Okay, so there was no threat to you. He was threatening people related to you or around you.
Correct.
Okay. And that was the initial one that you read to me.
That was the first one I read to you, correct.
Okay, so that's 2.
And here's another one.
And what's the date of that one?
That was the one on December 13th.
December 13th was the second one that you just read, that you initially read.
Correct.
And then you went back to November 1st and read the one that was referencing pulling your teeth out.
Yeah, so all those other ones I read to you, those were all made intermittently. He streams about me for hours every night, and so those were all separate instances of threats.
Right, so are there more than to those 2 days where he was streaming about you on November 26th and December 13th?
I could give you probably hundreds of them. I've kind of picked the ones that I thought were most shocking.
All right, so what other one would you like to tell me about?
Could I play this one for you?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to play this one.
And tell me the date of what you're about to play, please.
This is December 13th.
Is that the one you just read me?
No, this is a different one.
But on the same date?
Yes.
Same context? Similar context?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he rambles on about me for hours. So.
All right. Is there any other date besides November 26th and December 13th?
Yeah. One of these is an actual post that he made on, let me see the exact date. December 1st.
Okay, and what happened on December 1st?
He posted a video, and he said, "We out in these streets, bout that beating strikes life N-word. Keep trying, DJ Red Meat." Red Meat is the name that he calls me. He calls me Red Meat, Red Dick, stuff like that. So this is, and then he posted a rap video on there directed at me. And in the rap video, somebody is talking ill of another person online, and the other person tracks them down and murders them in cold blood. It's a pretty graphic video. I don't know if you can see that, but the person is killed execution style.
Okay.
And that's directed directly at me.
Okay.
All
right, Mr. Kearney, any other...
Can I play this audio?
What is it of?
This is him directing specific sexual threats.
And what date was that?
This was on, I believe December 13th.
All right, I think you've already entered evidence regarding the December 13th date. Are there any other dates?
If I could just enter this specific quote, because it's the most disturbing one. It says, "Tell your wife to expect me, cocksucker. I want to ask my wife for a hall pass, just so I can show her, my wife, what a real fucking man-sized dick feels like. Fucking take a picture of that in his bathroom. Hey, look, I came on your bathroom floor too. But your wife." Okay, all right, sir.
I think I've actually read your submissions beforehand. Is there any anything else you'd like to tell me?
Yes. Let's see. So when I asked for his address to serve him with this, I sent him a text and asked for his address. He responded by saying, "If you pull up, I will kick your bitch ass to sleep, junkie, and keep running your cock washer." That's word for mouth, kid. Yours is coming. He has previously threatened children of another woman named Keith Peter.
All right, sir, I don't want to hear evidence about threats against other people or what he's done.
Okay.
Only about you. Now, what date was that when you requested his address and he responded with a threat?
The date that I applied for the order.
December 16th.
December 16th.
Okay. Now, sir, given the nature of kind of the dialogue that goes back and forth, which I've listened to both of them, do you have an actual fear of imminent physical harm from Mr. Killoran?
Very much so. Due to our previous close relationship, his proximity to firearms, his glorification of gun violence directed towards me, his drinking habits, his knowledge of where I live, his very specific threats to come and find a way to get to my house, his prior threats that he's made towards other people, and his obsession with my family and friends, I absolutely feel that way.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Killoran, do you have any questions for Mr. Kearney? I hear what you have to say. I'm asking if you have any questions about what he has just told me.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir, I'll hear you then in response.
Okay, Your Honor, most of what he said is actually true. I did used to work for him and all this other stuff, but this persona, the way I talk and everything is what he benefited from for like 5 years. And if he's so afraid, he texted me. He can show you on his phone since he's there. On December 16th, he said, "Anyway, you're talking like a tough guy, but we both know you ain't about that life, son. You're about this life. Licking my balls for years, hilariously reading over these." So that doesn't sound like someone that's afraid to me. But
hold on 1 second, sir. Is that an accurate recitation of the text you sent him after receiving all of these threatening messages?
I sent him a threat asking, so him and I were going back and...
I'm just asking one question. He just recited to me the text message that you sent to him in response on December 16th, which is after all of the dates where you said that he's threatened you and you were afraid of imminent physical harm. So did you respond to him with what he just read?
By saying what?
Sir, did you submit that as part of your exhibit?
My witness that's there, who he also brought up, Kate Peter, who he's done this exact thing to, she has it physically printed out right in front of you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Can the court officer take that exhibit, please? Madam Clerk, would you mark that, please, as Defendant's Exhibit 1? And also, I want to give Mr. Kearney an opportunity to take a look at that. All right, please. All right, Mr. Kearney, I'm going to give you a copy of that so that you can respond. All right, Mr. Killoran, other than that responsive text message that we're making a photocopy of, we'll address that in a second. What else would you like to tell me?
The threats, as he calls them, were in response to, and again, in that evidence that my witness has, those were in response to, during one of my YouTube shows, he kept saying that he was going to come to my house and kick the crap out of me. And so these are in response to. But I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he would say or do something, then I would react. And back and forth, back and forth. He's done this exact thing. One of the videos that I emailed is him on another YouTube channel bragging about how he likes to waste this specific court's time. And he did this exact thing to my witness, who will testify if allowed. He bragged about just filing a motion or a court case to inconvenience her and drag her to court, and then he just canceled it that day, and he laughs about it, and he's like, yeah, I just wanted to F with her. And he's doing the same thing to me. He's like a bully on YouTube. All he does is bash everyone, And once he got caught cheating on his wife and leaked masturbation videos to his mistress, and then he got all mad at me for talking about it, and now he wants to silence me with this fake afraid of me stuff. I have no intent of ever seeing this guy again. He comes up to my chest. I'm not going to go.
All right, sir. I don't want to hear any kind of derogatory statements.
All right, good.
Mr. Kearney, did the clerk give you a copy of Mr. Killoran's exhibit?
Yes, he has.
Okay, can you take a moment to look at that?
Yes. So after our relationship...
Hold on a second. I need to get my copy so I can follow along with you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge.
All right, so... All right, Mr. Killoran, there seems to be a lot of stuff here. So can you direct me to where you're saying on December 16th, or how I'm going
to... They should be dated at the top. Like there's a little blue
some of them
box
are,
that says
some of
the
them not.
date.
November 25th, December 16th.
Yeah, that's the latest one that I had got was, again, on...
Okay, I see where you're saying. Anyway, you're talking like a tough guy, but we both know you ain't about that life, son. You're about to blah, blah, blah. All right, so... Mr. Kearney, did you send that text message to him on December 16th?
Yeah, I sent that text message to him.
Okay. And this is after you received all of the threats that you just
in context,
outlined for me.
The text message I sent to him contained an image of an email that he sent me in which he praised me. He said, "I just wanted to tell you thanks again this is prior to the dissolving of our relationship. I just wanted to tell you thanks again for having me be a small part of your brand. I spent most of my life..."
I can read it, sir.
Okay, so you can read that. So
right.
it's an email that praises me and says wonderful things about me.
Right, and then you followed it up with what is below, correct?
Yes, and I said, this is the real, that's me telling him, this is the real you, okay? This is the person that you were to me for so long, and now you're this person on here who's threatening to come to my house, get a ride specifically, because he doesn't have a car. He specifically says that he will hitchhike or take a bus to my house in order to hurt me, curb stomp my face. You've heard all the threats. Come into my house, show my wife what a real man-sized dick feels like.
All right, sir, I've already heard it. Mm-hmm. Now, going on to the next page. So your email, your text messages then go on the 16th beyond that, right?
Yes, Your Honor. To where the last ones on the 16th were, oh, you can read them. I don't have to.
Are what?
But he's saying that, bro, I own your brain. That shit's mine for life, fool. This doesn't sound like someone who's afraid, is my whole point, Your Honor.
Right,
this is just to make me be quiet, you know?
Mr. Killoran, let me just see where the message that you're referring to, where the last one that says what?
It should be right underneath the you're not about that life, son one. It's just after that.
Yeah, I just don't think mine are in the same, necessarily the same.
He calls me irrelevant. It's like, and then admits, I know you don't have a driver's license or a car or teeth. Like, how can you pretend to be afraid of me in one breath and then say this stuff taunting me in the next? To me, it doesn't make sense. And he's done this exact thing to the woman who presented my physical evidence for me, if you want to. Like, she went through this exact thing as a former employee and friend and all of it. This is his pattern. He tries to bully people into submission. And he tries using the courts to do it.
All right. All right, sir, and you said your witness is here. Would you like to call your witness to testify?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kearney, if you would just step aside. Or actually, why don't we bring her up forward?
Pause right here. Face the court.
All right, please swear her in.
Ma'am, do you solemnly swear the testimony provided to the court in the matter now in hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
All right, ma'am, can you please tell me your name?
It's Catherine Beater.
You need to speak a little bit louder and take your mask off. Come.
I can? It's Catherine Peter.
All right. And so, Mr. Killoran, do you want to ask her questions?
I guess, yeah. How do I just address her or to the court?
Well, I mean, for what purpose is she here to testify?
Because she's received the same treatment from the same guy, from Mr. Kearney. Like this exact thing in this exact courtroom to where he filed it, and then when she got to court, he dropped it and admitted it was just the F with her. And he's done the same thing to her he's doing to me.
Right. That was a video clip that you submitted to the clerk's office. Is that right? Is that correct, Mr. Killoran?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, ma'am.
And this is that one. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I can attest to the fact that I have witnessed the back and forth between the two of them. As in, I know both parties. At one point, I was also involved in Mr. Kearney's online journal, essentially is what it is, his diary. So I noticed that Mr. Kearney actually was the one who initiated the threats. He was the first one to bring up that he was going to go to Brett's house. He stated that he knew that he didn't have a car or driver's license, so he'll make it easy for him. He'll go to his house. He'll beat him up. Then, the reactionary things go back and forth. And as Mr. Killoran has stated, this is Mr. Kearney's sort of modus operandi. He has on 3 separate occasions brought me to court on baseless claims, and then later bragged in public that he was wasting the court's time just to inconvenience me. It is obviously a financial hardship. When he does this, people need to take time out of work. It's a huge travel expense for me. I'm driving an hour and a half to be here every single time that he does this. He has absolutely no regard for the court's time. You could be hearing cases where people are in danger right now, and instead you are essentially mediating an online argument that Mr. Kearney has started himself.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Kearney, do you have any questions for this witness?
I would say, Kate, have you ever threatened to come to my house and beat me up?
No, that's not a question. It's a question about her testimony here today.
Okay. I have really no questions then.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. You can have a seat. All right, Mr. Kearney, anything else?
So just to clarify with all this stuff, I'm somewhat of a public face on YouTube. I have a large following. And these threats have been going, as I said, for about a month. I take them quite seriously, considering he seems mentally unstable, considering his violent past. Any projection that I've had in which I've attempted to show that I'm not scared of him is me basically attempting to defend myself and show that, I'm not just going to lie here and be bullied by you and have you love these threats against me. But the threats that he made to me were very real. They were very specific. And given our past nature, in the public face of it, I am seriously in fear of him showing up at my house and following through on the threats that he promised to follow through on.
Okay. With respect to the text messages, Mr. Kearney, that the clerk gave you a copy of, those text messages are not in dispute. Those are text messages that went back and forth.
No, that's correct.
Between the two of you.
But yeah, the dates are, looks like some of these are in...
Some are November 21st, November 25th, November 26th, December 16th.
Right.
November 20th, et cetera.
The ones on November 21st, he basically ended things on his live show without talking to me. So I would text him and I said, can we just talk? Can we talk like we have a long relationship together? We talk. And he wouldn't do it. And so this is me texting him and saying, why don't we just talk man to man? Why don't we talk on the phone? We could talk in person if you'd like, whatever you'd like. That is not a threat. That is just my desire to end the relationship by actually speaking to a person directly as opposed to airing grievances for the world to watch on YouTube. So that's these aren't examples of threats or anything like that. This is just me attempting to, end things cordially with a man that I had a previous relationship with.
Okay. And with respect to the testimony of the witness where she alleges that you took out a harassment order against her and then indicated that it was the sole purpose was just to harass her.
So in the very next breath, I said, obviously that's a joke. So there was a 2-part hearing on September 24th, her and another woman. And I applied for the order against the first woman and presented our testimony. She had been harassing me for quite some time, sending me threats, actually. And when that order was denied, I simply dropped the order against Kate, because if the first one was denied, then the second one was certainly going to be denied. And I didn't feel like going through that, because it was quite obvious that the evidence was better in the first one. So if the first one wasn't going to get granted, then the second one certainly was not going to get granted. So anything I said about that was a joke. The audio clip that they've presented I haven't heard it yet, but it's most likely cut off, because after that I said, obviously I'm kidding. I said it again last night. I've said it several times. I take court very seriously, and I would only come here unless somebody threatens specific threats against me, which Brett Killoran has done dozens of times.
Okay. And while he was appearing as a guest on your show, you testified that he made threats about digging people's grandparents up and, all kinds of other types of violent activity. Did he ever follow through on any of that?
No, to my knowledge, he has not dug up any corpses.
All right. Or any of the violence that he, propounded while he was a guest on your show?
No, but he does have previous armed robbery charges in Worcester.
All right. So what was your understanding of, that kind of dialogue and behavior on your show? Was that shock and awe? It was.
We sort of had a good cop, bad cop relationship on the show. He was the bad cop. I was the good cop, and I would try to rein him in when he said insane things like that.
Okay. Was that part of his persona on your show?
Not to that level. Like, he's certainly crude and vulgar, and that's his persona, but certain times he takes it too far. Okay. And that's why I've had to previously in the past suspend him when he makes threats against fans of ours, supporters of ours, and it's happened a couple times before, but I've taken him back because I think underneath it all, I thought I saw talent there. And I thought that if I could be a good influence on him, which he told me I was, that we could mold that talent into something. Unfortunately, he is now on his own, and he is completely unrestrained, and I've never seen this side of him before. I've never seen anything like this. This is not the person he played on the show.
So, well, when he was on your show and you were doing the good cop, bad cop thing, and then you ultimately suspended him, and then would bring him back, did you suspend him because when you said he went too far, that it was just, over the top dialogue? You didn't have any concerns that he was actually going to go out and harm a fan?
I thought certainly there was a possibility, considering his past, yes.
And then you brought him back anyway?
And then I brought him back anyway because I thought that I could fix him, basically. I thought that I could his comment to me about being on the show, being the best thing that ever happened to him and getting off Social Security, that hit home. And I thought, this guy is, he's had a tough life. I believe he rents an apartment with a roommate in Maine. Hasn't had a job most of his life.
No, we're talking about why, if you thought that his violent tendencies were such that he would go out and harm a fan of yours, but then you thought you could bring him back and somehow control that? Right.
So when I suspended him, when he threatened a woman named Stacey Barnes, I said, you can't do that. That's unacceptable. I'm going to have to take you off the show for a little bit. Quite frankly, some of the things that he was saying on my show got me in trouble with other people that attempted to take out orders against me based on what he said on my show. Right. And so I had to suspend him a couple times for that. I said, you can't do that. That's unacceptable.
And about how many times did you suspend him for that type of behavior?
I suspended him twice prior to this.
Okay. And then you brought him back?
And I brought him back. That's correct.
Okay. And then that November 19th date was kind of the final parting of the ways.
Yes, and he's the one that parted ways on his show. He didn't call or text or anything.
Okay, so at that point, he cut ties with you. That wasn't you suspending him. You had suspended him in the past, but on the 19th, he cut ties on the show without speaking to you about it. And
so somewhat reformatted his show to 5-hour streams every night about me that included threats that have, escalated since then, mostly by me attempting not to react to it on my show, which is what he really wants.
And have you reacted to your show at all?
I only talked about this. Last night on my show. I talked about this hearing today and how I was going to be coming here.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Kearney?
No.
Okay. Mr. Killoran, anything else you'd like to tell me?
Just that, like this, he keeps saying things about me that aren't true, like in this testimony, and not that I really care about that. It's just he's saying that this is an act with me and it's just for YouTube and stuff. I'm the guy that I am, and he used to not only encourage it, but send me after other people. And now you're afraid of me? This just seems very juvenile and a waste of everyone involved's time. If he ever did come to my house, I can't say that something wouldn't happen, but I live 3 hours away, and I have no intent of going anywhere near this person. And I just think that this is juvenile and a waste of time, Your Honor.
All right.
Again, in one of the clips, he specifically said, I know I don't have a car, but I would take a bus, I would hitchhike if I had to, just to kick the dick off your breath. So the lack of a car doesn't, he's made it clear that will not inhibit him from, enacting physical violence.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to take this under advisement. I know you both have submitted video clips, which I reviewed, but I want to review again, as well as this packet of text messages, which is marked as Exhibit 1. And
he did threaten, one more clip, I don't know if it's too late. He said, quote, I just want to shoot him. That's what he said in a recent stream with Kate Peter. They were on a show together. Kate said that she was going to come to my house, and then Brett said, I just want to shoot him. I have not submitted that yet. I just found that clip yesterday. Can I submit?
You can submit that to,
okay.
Email it to the clerk's office.
Okay, I will email that to the clerk's office.
And Mr. Killoran, if you have any other clips you want to email to the clerk's office, that's fine. As I said, I'm going to take this under advisement, and I'll issue a decision after anything that you want me to look at needs to be in by 2 p.m. today.
Okay.
All right, that's the cutoff to 2 p.m. today, and then I will review everything, and I will issue my decision. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.